Hi, Dr. B here. I want to go through how to use my Quizlet flashcards most effectively. If you are not taking my class and want to use them, just do a search for my username, Linnea_Boyev. And if you want to add some flashcards that you think other people looking at my videos might like, just put Boyev Farm in the name of your flashcard set so that other people can find them. All right, let's take a look here. Got to put on my internet glasses so I can see. I'm just going to go straight to Quizlet.com to start with. All right, so you go to Quizlet. All right, and if you're in my class, you will have gotten a link to my class. So this is, I'm recording this in spring of 2021. And let's say you are going to try to learn this set of flashcards, which is adrenergic fight or flight. So if you click on that particular set of cards, what you get is actually just the set of cards. You're not actually getting to the flashcards. You're going to see the terms and then the answers. Okay, so that's not what you want though. Now, what I usually assign for my students is going to be either the flashcards, the learning exercise, or the matching exercise. Anything else you do is sort of on you, okay? So let's start with flashcards. So if we go to flashcards, all right, say we decide we're going to study alpha receptors. Where are alpha receptors in terms of cardiovascular things? Well, alpha receptors for cardiovascular are going to be the small non-essential blood vessels. So let me check, was I right? Yes, it constricts the non-essential blood vessels and increases blood pressure. So when you're using flashcards, when you think you've got it, just click, just don't do anything. You're like, okay, I knew that one. I knew that one. Maybe if you don't know that one, let's say that you knew that one. All right, so let's go to the next flashcard. Alpha-1 receptor respiratory is in the sinuses, right? So we're going to click there. Decreases, so it makes your sinuses dry. Okay, there's only beta-2 receptors in the lungs. Okay, alpha receptors, say you can't remember what alpha-1 receptors do in the pupils, right? You're like, well, it must make them bigger or smaller, but I don't remember. And you look here and you're like, okay, it makes them bigger, but I didn't know that. So what you do is you click the star here because it's one you didn't know. Right. If you're doing this on a smartphone or an iPad, there's usually different apps for Quizlet flashcards. Quizlet has its own app and there's other apps too. And sometimes on those, if you knew it or you didn't know it, you can swipe different directions to mark whether or not you knew it or not. This is only for desktop or, laptops or whatever. All right, so say alpha-1 receptor, maybe you don't know what it does for lower GI. Well, it slows down GI secretions and makes you constipated. But say you didn't know it, so you just star here. So let's just go through this and say, spit. All right, now let's say, now it'll ask you, do you want to study the 6 start items? So it's going to ask me if I want to go over the ones I didn't know. So now pupils, and I'll say, oh, I remember, alpha-1 receptor, that's fight or flight, it makes your pupils bigger. So I check it and I'm like, oh, I did know it, yay. So then I'm going to unstart because now I know that one. All right, and you'll notice that over here, it'll now say that I only have 5 cards that I don't know. And similarly here, alpha-1 receptor, lower GI. Okay, alpha receptors make you constipated. And now let's say I know it, so I click that to show that I do know that one. And now there's only 4 start flashcards and so forth. Okay, so doing a flashcard activity means that you go through it and you star the ones you don't know. Now you get credit from me for going through the flashcards once. Now you study by going through the flashcards until you have no starred flashcards left. All right, so that's how flashcards work. All right, let's go back now and do a different activity. Let's do learning. All right, if you do the learning activity, okay, the way that the learning activity works is either it's a flip or it'll sometimes be multiple choice questions or it'll be matching or things like that. Now, the problem is that in the learning activity, there's one thing that you can do, which is you can type in the answers. And the problem with that is going to be that you have to know the exact phrase in order to type in the correct answer to get credit. And you will never have to know the exact phrase from my handout ever again in your life except for this class. So I always want you to know sort of the idea and say things in your own words and not the exact phrase. So if you're doing the learning activity, you go to options, okay? And you can decide if you want to do term or definition, okay? And then the question types you're going to want are going to be flashcards and multiple choice. And then you don't want written questions, okay? You can try it, but I'm telling you, you don't want that. So you're going to want the learning activity to be flashcards or multiple choice questions. You can have it be multiple choice questions too, although multiple choice questions aren't going to always work with everything. The biggest thing here when you're doing learning activity is to uncheck written questions, okay? So let's say here, so constrict, restart learning, okay. Upper respiratory only decreases secretion of sinuses, so that'll be alpha-1 receptor respiratory, correct, okay.
Lungs relaxes bronchial
It's also doing it out loud. When you're learning languages, having it read out loud to you is terrific. All right, I didn't want this to do it this way. I want to switch. I want to answer with the definition, not the term. All right, you get credit either way, so do it either way. Alpha-1 receptor pupils is going to be dilates the pupils of the eye is the answer. Okay. All right, so that's how you do the learning activity. All right, the last activity I sometimes have you do is something called matching. Okay, so matching is just what it says, it's matching. So let's do this. All right, so when you get to this activity, you want to drag the things that match over each other, and that'll make them disappear, and then you will make them disappear, and then when you're done, it'll tell you your time. Usually, when you really get them, when you really start knowing it well, you can do it in less than 20 seconds or 14 whatever seconds. You can see that previous students who've done this have been able to do it in 20 seconds about. So you get credit for doing the matching activity based on how fast you did it. And I just want to show you what I can see. And I'm going to look at let's look at an old class. So for this particular set, and let's look at progress. All right. If I hover over it, it'll tell me when they last finished it. Now, this is a year ago, so it's just saying it finished it 7 months ago. But if it's within the last 2 weeks, it'll tell me what date, and how and what hour you finished the activity, and also what percentage you finished it. So if you're doing the learning activity, like this person hasn't done any of the learning yet. This person did matching and they did it in 30 seconds. Was their best effort. And then it also gives me an information about how well everyone's doing, like what are the terms that people miss the most. So that gives me a good idea about maybe I need to make quizzes about the things that are the hardest, because things that everybody gets, if everyone in the class knows it 99% well, there's no reason for me to quiz you on it because you all know it. So, all right. So that's really the best way to use, and the way that I'm grading, and the best way to use Quizlet flashcards. All right. If you want to do a search just for old flashcard sets that previous students have done, probably an easiest way to do it is just to do a search for Boyev. You're going to find quite a lot of old flashcard sets made by previous students, as well as my flashcard sets. My official flashcard sets are all Linnea_Boyev, and it'll say teacher next to it. So those you can count on. So that's how to best use Quizlet flashcards for my flashcard sets and my classes. I hope that was helpful. Go to it. Those are meant not to be torture, but they are meant to be helpful and fun. I hope those helped you, and have a great day.